is? Does everyone know what time it is? Yeah! That's right. It's time for a...
Yo, what up, guys? This is your host, Victor Santana. Another week of Dallas Beer Talk. This is a special week for us. We got Matt from Bitter Sisters here to the right of me. And then, of course, I can't forget our other hosts, Kirsty and Drew. And before we get into the show, I think I just want to mention this is a comical part of the show. Like, just something about me that, for some reason, I can never bring our effing glasses in. We have, I think, about, 20 glasses? I have ones I bought specifically for you guys. Then I have the Dallas Beer Talk glasses. Then I have a bunch of other ones. A bunch
of spares that you have to keep
spares
buying.
I bought over the time. And I can never bring a single one in. I think twice on the show I brought them in. And it's become, I think, part of the show of me going buying glasses every week.
You just like to make sure you keep them looking nice.
I guess. Fresh.
Shiny
brand new
new.
glasses, brand new beers every week.
Keeping that liquor store in business. He knows you now. He's like the glass guy.
Shout out to Goody Goody for always being down the street and helping people out.
If I knew you guys needed glasses, I mean, I've got a whole box of old beer glasses that my wife made me get rid of when I started the brewery. So yeah,
Oh, man.
you go do a pint night, and before you know it, you've got like 200 glasses.
Yeah, I have that
What
same
am I gonna do with
problem.
these?
Been to so many different pipe nights. Do you have any? So when it gets to that point when you have to get rid of them, do you have to start distinguishing between your favorite ones, and you're kind of like sitting there choosing, like, okay, I like that one. No, I don't want to get rid of that one. How does it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of them, you've got 3 or 4 of, and it's the same one, and so
That's
it's
easy
all right.
toss.
I got to get rid of some of those, but you still feel bad. It's like, what am I going to do with it? So,
See?
That's your collection right there. You've
Right.
been working years to make this.
Yeah,
It takes time to build it up. I do superhero ones. I think I bought superhero ones from Target once for the show once.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bunch of those. I got Star Wars, like Marvel, DC heroes. I think I have also different game ones you could buy when you go to GameStop. But I don't know. They can't bring a single one in.
You forget them all anyways, right?
Fuck me,
So,
right?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Bitter Sisters Brewing. You guys are. How long have y'all been in business for?
we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, we survived. So. We're a little different than a lot of breweries around. We are a family-owned brewery. So it's me and my wife, her 2 sisters, their husbands, and my wife's baby brother and his wife. So that's actually kind of how we came up with the name.
I was wondering how you came up with the name. I was like, Bitter Sisters, is it because they have bitter beers or?
No, that's what everybody thinks. Actually, most of our beers are fairly malty.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been homebrewing for, over 20 years. I used to be a pub brewer when I was in school, and kind of after I graduated, that's actually how I met my wife and one of her sisters.
Nice.
So I'd make beers for different family
Nice.
events, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners and stuff. So when my brother-in-law was getting married, we did all the beer for his wedding rehearsal dinner.
Oh, wow.
And so he's the baby brother of 3 sisters. So he basically had 4 moms.
Oh, give him free beer, please. Come on now.
Right. Well, that's why we have to make so much beer.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good problem to have, though. If you
Yeah.
think about it.
So we made all the beers for the rehearsal dinner, and then I did another beer for just family coming in from out of town.
Yeah.
And it was an English style bitter, and I called it Bitter Sisters, just kind of making fun of the sisters because they were very opinionated about the wedding and about every little thing. And it's like, dude, it's not your wedding. Why do you care? Just have a
Just
beer.
enjoy
and get
it,
over
yeah.
So I mean, we've been talking about opening a brewery for over 10 years, and finally, a couple years ago, my wife and I said, hey, we're going to do this. If you guys want in, let us know. If not, that's cool. Everybody was in, but then we couldn't agree on a name.
Oh.
And so I finally said, well, let's just call it Bitter Sisters. And everybody agreed, and so that's...
They agreed. They weren't bitter at first and like, you making fun of me?
Well, no, not at all. So even when I made the beer for the rehearsal dinner, the sisters thought it was funny, and they came up with a logo for it.
Except
was
the
like,
logo we still used
no,
to have.
no. The logo was like the Charlie's Angels outline, and it says Bitter
Gotta do
Sisters
that.
in the middle of it. So for copyright reasons, we couldn't
Can't
use that,
unfortunately.
So.
You could have done with like beer mugs, like holding one up and a beer mug here.
Right, it would still probably be a little
Right,
too
a little on
close.
the, on the, on the
testy.
brink.
We don't have that much money for lawyers. So.
Very nice. Well, I really like y'all's logo. It's a nice logo.
We have stickers.
Yeah. You tell them about the story about how we first kind of heard about Bitter Sisters.
Yeah, so we all got together, and I was really excited about doing a show similar to this, but it fell through. But me and Drew and Kirsty had so great conversations, and we loved hanging out with each other. I was like, you know what? Why don't we do it ourselves? And we just evolved around drinking beer. Like, we don't know anything about beer. Drew's really big into beer, and we just fucking drink and talk as friends and figure out what's going on in life, right? And then for the preset, like the pre-gaming or setting up for the show, we went to a place called Social Pie. Again, I talk about Social Pie all the time. I love it. But we would go there and drink, and had a nice variety of beer, so he could tell you to check our palate, what we like and what we don't like, so he could think about beers for the show. And one of the first beers we had was Bitter Sisters, a peanut butter one you had.
No, we didn't. Not us. You probably had our Busybody Blonde Lager there.
Yeah, that was one that was.
That was
Yeah,
wrong,
I did
like,
know
who-
that. That was good.
That was a good one too. But who's the peanut butter one? 'Cause I always said it was that and this peanut butter one.
I don't know. I remember the Busybody one though. It was
Yeah.
one of those, and because I remember getting the stickers from
Breaking up the story already,
Mm-hmm.
because we have the stickers, and the lady that was there giving us beers, she was like, "Okay, you try these people. We just got them. They're local. You call them. They're really cool." And I can't remember the waitress' name, but she's not there anymore either.
I can't remember either.
But she was
She
cool
was
as
great,
fuck,
yeah.
and she was like, "Yo, you have to call them. This would be a great person having a show." And we got super excited. So a few weeks ago, I sent emails out to local breweries here, and you guys emailed us, and I got stupid excited. to have
Nice.
you guys on here, and here you are. So it's like
Here we are.
fruition. Like it
So
was
you're
meant to be.
fangirling over there.
A little bit, but I kind of messed up. Like it's like saying I'm the biggest fan, and you're like you're in this movie. It's like I'm not in that movie.
It's okay. To make up, you just gotta get a Bitter Sisters logo tattooed on you somewhere, and then I
neck.
think
I
that'll
will.
Oh,
suffice.
on the neck. You're
problem.
gonna show it off all the time.
Yeah,
There
everywhere I
you
go. Like, if I go to Penacola's Raw, anywhere, it doesn't matter.
Very nice.
That's a fan.
So
I would pay for that. If you get a Bitter Sisters neck tattoo,
We could make
I will
this
pay
episode.
for
We
it.
could definitely make this episode.
fit it somewhere on the sleeve
Man.
somewhere.
No, I'll get the neck. I'll do it on neck.
Hey, let's make it a whole thing. I mean, come into the brewery and get
There
it
we
done in
go.
the brewery.
Bring
There
in
you
the
go.
artists, get them to
Yes.
do right there.
We'll do a live show
Right.
from the brewery, and then
Very
at the
nice.
end of the show, it'll be
bit of-
Victor getting a neck tattoo of the logo. Yeah.
sounds
I
like
think
a great
that's the
episode of me.
perfect
No,
episode,
no
yeah.
crying either. Okay, no crying
No,
on
I
air.
actually don't. I've never asked anybody if it's painful in the neck. I've seen plenty of people with neck tattoos. I never
I
asked.
would.
I would think it would hurt.
Yeah,
I feel like right
just
here,
assume.
like right over like the
Oh, that would
Adam's
be the
apple area.
worst.
I feel that would hurt a lot, but I don't know.
I'm not the
don't know.
ballsy blue on
Well,
it.
I think the whole thing is the more muscle you have in an area, the less it hurts, and it's like hard to build neck muscle. And so I think
of
that
neck
that's
ups.
yeah.
I don't know what you're doing over there, Andrew. Harry Hines. They offer Harry Hines too, so there
Perfect spot.
It's a perfect spot for you.
Hey,
No.
so let's talk about the beer. One of the beers that he brought in today, which is the Hissy Fit. Want to tell us a little bit about the Hissy Fit?
Yeah, the Hissy Fit is it's our Hissy Fit Märzen Lager. It's an Oktoberfest style.
I already love it.
We call it Märzen because if you call it Oktoberfest, then nobody wants to buy it except September, October. So you get into November, people are like, "Oh, Oktoberfest, that's
It's
past,
done, yeah.
it's old." So it's a Märzen. It is the same style.
it's delicious.
It's an amber lager. It's got a little bit of sweetness up front, but it finishes very crisp, very clean. Easy drinking beer.
Very nice. Let's give her a taste.
Oh, I like the little history. 3 type A sisters. And their laid back baby brother.
Very tasty. Yeah, definitely see the Oktoberfest style.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
This
actually
is more my
is
style of beer.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is.
won gold at World Beer Cup with this beer last year. So
Wow, congrats.
That's pretty good.
That's big
for
after
us.
just 2 years.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. And I love that it says born in Oklahoma, brewed in Texas. I'm from Oklahoma, so.
So the
You
the
had her
story,
at
the
Oklahoma.
story
Yeah.
behind that is we all grew up in Oklahoma. The sister, all the sisters and myself all grew up in Oklahoma. I started my brewing career at a brew pub up in Norman, Oklahoma. So back in
Boomer.
Sooner. So back in the mid '90s, I was the head brewer at this brew pub for about 4 years, and basically got tired of being poor, moved down to Dallas, got a corporate job, and said, okay, I'll work for a couple years and then start my own brewery. Well, like 14 years later, it finally
couple
happened. Life got in the way, and kids and all that
A
kind
few
of
years.
stuff.
You said a few. You didn't say
Right,
two or
yeah, I
three.
didn't-
Specific.
The,
Right.
right on the corner of Main and the train tracks there, that one?
Yeah, 102 West Main.
No.
It was-
Awesome. That's
it was-
great.
Yeah, it was Coach's.
you from
Used to
Oklahoma?
be Norman Brewing Company.
I went to OU.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Where is
I
Jen?
go to coaches all the time, yeah.
Shout out to Jen,
Yeah.
The number one fan.
number one fan. So I was born in Ada, Oklahoma.
Nice,
And
okay.
I lived in Bartlesville for about
What's going on right now?
until I was going into 5th grade. I moved here to Fort Worth, or Dallas Fort Worth area, going into 5th grade. So I've been here ever since. But yeah, good times in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was actually up in Tulsa this past weekend for a big beer festival called Hop Jam. So it's a big beer and music festival. It's the biggest one in Oklahoma. And the headliner was the Tulsa hometown favorite, the Hanson brothers.
Oh,
And I was actually on a panel talking about beer with Taylor Hanson.
oh wow.
And you know what? He couldn't be like, a nicer guy or
Yeah.
more down to earth. I mean, it's just like, we're on this panel talking about beer, kind of like we are now. And in the audience, it was probably 75% women.
Just like
And when
screaming.
no, they were. I mean, they were cool. But then when the panel was done and we all left, they're all like waiting around for him to get autographs
Yeah.
and stuff. It's like
They didn't wait for you. Like
no,
you're
no.
the champion
That
here.
could have been for you. That could have been waiting for you.
No, there was no signing anything.
You
no,
had your
no
wife waiting
pictures.
for you at least.
Yeah. So that was a first. Being on a panel with other brewers and
Yeah.
talking about that. But
That's cool that you know.
Have you ever signed a bottle opener though? I am intrigued by that prospect.
I don't think I've signed anything. Actually.
Well, before you leave here, you'll have signed
Yeah.
something. That's
All
for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Deal.
There we go.
Yeah, definitely a deal. This beer right here is just more my style of beer. This is what I like. I like blonde lagers. This is like Oktoberfest and things like that. German beers. My favorite beer is Stella.
Yeah, I mean, most of the beers we make, we want them to be fairly drinkable. So our blonde, our busybody blonde lager, the Hissy fit here, both extremely drinkable. I mean, I want ours to be, we do some other stuff too that we'll get into, but
Yeah.
you know,
so guys
specialty.
were wondering, I got a random brown bottle up here. It's a special one. We're gonna talk about it here.
It's the mystery
in just a
brew right
little
now.
bit. Like maybe 20 minutes, so something like that.
So you just started canning some of your beers, right?
last week.
Last week.
Last
Now,
week.
where can I get some?
So they should be they started making their way around Monday this week. We also just signed with a distributor.
Oh, nice.
With
Congrats.
with Full Clip Craft Distributors. Those guys they only do craft beer and craft products. They're really good. Care about the beer, treat it like
good.
it should be treated. You should start seeing our stuff in most of the liquor stores. Total Wine will probably be one of the first ones. Whole Foods, Specs. So
Whole Foods
So
probably
easy to
my
get
number
to.
one go-to to find like different craft beers. Like,
yeah. So kind of all
What
the
do you think
usuals.
about that? Whole Foods, like go get beer.
Yeah.
Right, they got a good selection. So.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested. You said you did homebrewing for a while. How was your first ever homebrew? How did that go? Did you have any troubles? Any bacterial?
No. So
Contaminants?
I remember my first homebrew was the summer of 1993. And
Don't mind me.
yeah,
Checking the feed.
so dating myself a little bit, but yeah, no, it was actually there wasn't nearly as much information or anything about homebrewing as
Oh,
there is
yeah.
now, and so my first homebrew was at Cooper's ale kit, and so it's this little steel can that you got the can opener and opened it up, and there's a little yeast packet on top, and poured it in, mixed it with hot water, and let it ferment, and you
What-
had beer, and
What
it
did
was
you think?
it was okay.
Yeah.
It was drinkable.
It's I'm kind of proud about it though.
Yeah.
So this is my beer.
It's like I made it, and I mean, so I did that for a little while, and then started getting more and more into it, and started doing all grain, and then gave a bottle of my Christmas porter to the guy who was running the brewery in Norman, and he
Liked
liked
it?
it, and he
Went
was
off
like,
from
"Hey,
there.
you want to come see how to brew on the big system?" And
You're like,
Wow.
yes.
so I went and worked for free for about 6 months, and then they said, "Hey, we're changing restaurant concepts, so you want to, take over the brewing stuff?" And so I did.
I have to
That's
say it's
cool.
pretty impressive, especially in Oklahoma, because beer wasn't really much of a thing until the last couple of years. I mean,
Right.
besides like Budweiser and stuff like that. So what made you love beer so much all the way back in '93 to make some for yourself?
I don't know. I think there was always been a mystique about home brewing. My dad homebrewed, and he had stories about he'd be laying in his dorm room in college, and he could hear his bottles exploding in the basement below.
Below.
And my grandpa homebrewed, back when prohibition was in effect. So I think it's there was always some mystique about, hey, you can make this thing, this beer yourself and drink it, and it's it won't kill you or something. And
Hopefully it won't kill you, yeah.
right, so
So kind of the mad science behind it, that DIY chemistry that's
Absolutely.
very attractive.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Very nice.
I wish I had that chemistry. I just like drinking. I never thought about making it myself.
So I've got a homebrew kit at the house. It's got a little glass fermenter and all that stuff. And that's one of the things I've been wanting to do when I get some time. I've got a 8-month-old
Yeah,
daughter.
So you
she's
have
taking
no
up,
time.
She's taking up a lot of time, but I want to get around to doing that when I get some extra spare time. So
I hope
think
you know you're never gonna have spare
I
time.
think it's like a Hefeweizen
Yeah.
kit.
So you got to play your trump card.
yeah.
Father's Day, you're like, hey, it's Father's Day, it's my day.
That's a good idea. She did ask me what I wanted.
This is what I want to do. I want to homebrew, and that's it.
Yeah.
You can only use it once a year, so you might as well use it.
Joe, you got two. You got your birthday and you got
Well,
true.
yeah, okay.
That's true. Yeah.
everything else is for your
Smart.
wife and the kids.
I write that
day.
one down. Just keep that one in my pocket. But do you have any home brews you did that kind of stick out? Like, what was your favorite one that you brewed and you said, "Oh, this one is perfect"?
I think that Christmas porter I did was good. So it was kind of strange because that kind of got me started brewing it. When I started brewing, as a pub brewer, kind of moved more to the professional side. And then when I, left that job and moved back down here, I was homebrewing again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was homebrewing with kind of a different perspective of, hey, knowing how you do it on a larger scale, and that's kind of what I'm doing.
Kind of
So-
size it down.
Right, and so really pretty much all the recipes that we brew today have been my old homebrew recipes that I've kind of refined and tweaked, and just played with stuff to see. Okay, I like this yeast strain versus this yeast strain. I mean, I probably went through 4 or 5 different lager yeast strains before I found the one that I really liked.
Very nice. Very nice.
So does that mean you are I saw you were the brewmaster, so you're literally the one that makes the beers, or at least the recipes of it?
Yeah, so I make all the beers. I do essentially almost all the recipes. I've got an assistant brewer who I'm kind of letting him do some stuff, and try some recipes out. And so he's doing kind of his thing, and he's a really good brewer, and so he's doing some really cool stuff that maybe wouldn't be my wheelhouse or what I do, but he's doing a great job with it. So yeah, so we'll talk about it, and hey, how do we scale this up on the big scale? And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's fun.
That's exciting. So how many beers you have that's gonna be available when it hits like Total Wine and Hopeful?
So right now, the Busybody Blonde Lager and the Hissy Fit that we're drinking, those are the first 2 that we canned last week. Next week, we're canning our Catfight IPA. The week after that, we're canning our Knockout Irish Red.
That's one I wanna drink.
Yeah, so the base beer is an 8% Irish Red Ale. And then we took that beer and we did some magical stuff to that's in that bottle. And we'll taste that in a little bit.
Can I ever get another one?
Yeah.
So what makes it complicated to put it into a can? I don't know anything about anything, so.
So we had a company, Armadillo Mobile Canning. So they basically brought a canning line into our facility, set it all up, hooked up to our tanks, our water, our CO2, our compressed air, and they got everything rolling. And so it's a little assembly line. It'll move 4 cans in, purge those cans with CO2, move it to the next station. It fills them from the bottom up. and then it'll move it to the next station where it'll drop caps on the cans and
Kind of twist it over and
it
clinch
twists
in.
it over and seams it on, and then it comes off. They all come off, and then we put the tops on them and put them in cases. And
Do you feel like it changes the flavor at all from draft to can, or?
I think if you pour it in a glass, I think it's the same. I think if you, as long as you keep the beer cold and take care of it. I mean, if you take a 6-pack and leave it in the back seat of your car for a couple hours in the summer, you know, cook it a little bit, it's not going to be the same.
It's also different from glass. It's not, the sun's not eating going in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's blocking it out.
all the cans though, you know, they're all, you know, they've all got the liners, so you don't get the metallic taste.
Yeah.
So, when you're making the jump from homebrew to a larger batch, is it simply a matter of scale, or are there other things that go into those considerations?
Yeah, no, it's not a linear scale. You can't just say, okay, we're doing 10 gallons, let's scale it up for 1,000 gallons. It's not linear at all. So it's actually, you know, we use a little bit less hops in the bigger batches because we get better utilization. So there's a lot of things that go into play. So we, more than anything, we look at, you know, the numbers for our small homebrew scale, and then when we scale it up to the big batch, we'll look at similar beers on the big scale and just kind of adjust it that way.
Do you worry about the yeast? Like,
Absolutely.
so not like when you, depending on how big the barrel is or the strand of yeast, do you want to overstress it, things like that? Because again, I'm learning more here thanks to Andrew, and he's really big into learning more about this stuff, and he's like has more knowledge than me. So I'm learning here. So when you do your bigger batches, do you switch out different yeast strands, or do you worry about overstressing the yeast you have?
We'll keep the same yeast strain. So what we'll do is if we're doing it on a bigger scale, you know, we'll actually get a new fresh pitch of yeast from our yeast supplier, designed for that larger scale, so that you have the right cell count per, you know, volume. Because if you try, you can't. I mean, theoretically, you could scale up, you know, your homebrew yeast to 1,000 gallons, but to do that would be a whole lot of work.
Take a lot of time, huh?
I think that's kind of where the mad science part of it comes in, right? That's one of the things that you have to balance out.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, so we go through a yeast bank because we don't have a microbiologist on staff like some breweries in town. Someday we will be at that point, but we're not yet.
Very nice.
So we'll let you know.
No,
we'll let you know.
He's in histology.
Have you seen Victor's CV by any chance? I think I have it laminated over here in the drawer.
Yeah, I'm ready whenever you are. I know a lot of micro people.
Very nice.
No, it's interesting. So the transition from making it at home. Is there a style beer you prefer more than others? I've learned that I like blondes and I like stouts. That's my style of beer I like. And then,
honestly, I like lagers. I like, you know, that's why a big reason why we do our blonde lager and we do the Märzen lager. Not a lot of people are doing lagers. They take a lot of time, but I really like lagers. I think they're underrepresented in craft beer.
I definitely do that. I think IPAs is taking a foothold, and I dislike 99% of IPAs.
And I think we can be friends because I like lagers, and I don't know that many good ones out there. This one was delicious. I also liked your other one, so you're doing a good job so far.
Well, thanks. I mean, I think you go to some of these, you know, European countries, Austria, Switzerland, Germany, Czech Republic. Belgium's fantastic. Most of their beers are ales, but
but they're also very fucking delicious.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
I do not disagree with that. And that's why we do a triple, and we also did a small scale of our Belgian quad, which was delicious.
Okay. So nice and strong.
12%.
That's what I like. That's what I like
Yeah.
to hear. Yes.
Yeah. So we have limited that one to 2 glasses a person in the tasting room.
That's very fair enough. Fair enough.
So you've mentioned your tasting room. Do you have tours, and when can people go and check that out?
Yeah, so we are open to the public on Fridays from 4 to 9, and then Saturdays 11 to about 3, or when people kind of start trickling out. Saturdays is kind of when we do the tours. Fridays is just kind of more happy hour after work. We've got a great, local crowd, group of regulars that always come in. Saturdays, it's, just kind of, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, Saturdays it's good. We're kid friendly, so
And
people bring kids in.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's pretty affordable too. It's just $15. You get a glass and 3 drinks.
3 pints, keep the glass, $15, or you can buy a single beer. So just kind of however you want to do it.
It's not bad at all. It's really good.
I would do the 3 just so you can taste different ones for sure.
Sure. Yeah, we also do flights too. So we'll do like a flight of 4. You pick 4 different beers, and that's $6, and try
How many
little
different
samples.
beers do you have in total?
Tasting room, we've got 9 on right now.
Wow. Okay.
Very nice.
See, I was thinking like 6.
Yeah, I didn't realize there
Blowing
was
my mind
that
right
much. Yeah.
So you're saying you have some of like the kind of like the specialty ones that'll come out that
That'll be tasting room
that'll be
only.
tasting room. Very
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, I think that's, one cool thing about, when you go to a brewery, you should be able to get, some of those beers that you can only get there.
Yeah, because if not, then why not stop them from going to the store and picking it up and enjoying
Exactly.
it? So, which we definitely want people to go do, but definitely go visit them at the tap room. So,
Right.
Yeah.
This is something I'm learning here. I'm also very appreciative to live here in Texas. I'm originally from New York City, but this last like 8 years here in Texas, just a growth in people open up breweries and people interested in a huge community is building around here in Texas. And I feel very fortunate to have people passionate like yourself. We had Chad from Pennycolas and Chris from Pennycolas come through here, and people we are talking to that come on the show. Everybody seems very passionate about making beer. And it's just very exciting to see people's passion and also talk to people who make whiskey. Just there's a lot of different things here being made here in Texas, and people are very passionate about. And it's exciting to see. So I like seeing that. And it's a family. You guys are a family business. You say you have your wife, her sisters,
Yeah.
your husbands, or little brother as well.
Yeah.
I think that's very cool. One of the things that I've told these guys a lot is that I think my dream, if I could have any kind of thing to do, a couple things. One would either be to be a photographer, kind of go around the world and get paid to go travel and take pictures,
Be a
or
photographer.
or to open up a brewery. I think it's a very cool thing to want to do, especially if you're passionate about brewing and beer in general. You get that it's like the community outreach, and you kind of get the doubly cool factor because you have your family involved, which I think is awesome. So.
Yeah, well, it's great, but like I tell everybody on the tours, being a brewer is actually very overrated, and people try and mystify it way too much because basically we're janitors. All we do is clean stuff.
We understand that. We understand on the level you do not understand.
Move liquid and clean what's out left over.
Yeah.
So Family Guy lied to me. Is that what's happening here?
Yes, what you saw on TV was not real.
I'm flabbergasted, sir.
I'll tell you this right now. We work in an industry that they mysticize it as state of the art and hands-on type of thing, but a lot of it is just managing. We just manage things. We manage machines and manage times. Which is the same thing with janitor. We just look at things like, okay, we got 30 seconds. Got it. So we understand that way more than the regular person. My dream, and me and Andrew talk about this. We talk about this as a show. It would be great to open up a bar. My goal these last 10 years in Texas has always been to open a bar, have a business, be successful, to open my own bar. I just want to open a fucking bar so I can sit there, open it, drink a beer, have good coworkers that I brought on, and have locals come and hang out with us.
So you want the Cheers life.
I want the
Some
fucking
Kirstie Alley
Boston
in
Cheers
there.
life. Yeah, even though I'm not from Boston. I want that. I want to open up and just hang out.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I'm sorry. When you're a business owner, you don't get to just hang out.
That's why I want Andrew to make the beer.
Right.
We'll be in the background.
I'll be the front, just be the face.
Yeah, but I think for y'all, that's got to be pretty exciting as, being open like 2 years and to see this kind of come to fruition with the cans.
Yeah, it's
Bro,
pretty, it's pretty
yeah,
wild.
that
You
I
was
mean,
also
it's,
won an award that we didn't mention on air. Did we mention it?
no, I
Yeah.
think we mentioned.
I
Yeah,
can't
Yeah.
remember. We
World
talked
Beer
a lot
Cup.
before. See, there's a problem with drinking and talking before the show.
But I mean, there's got to be some kind of sort of satisfaction. You see them rolling off that first batch.
Oh yeah,
coming through.
absolutely. It was pretty surreal when they start up the canning line and the canning operator. He's like, here's your first 6-pack. And it's like, holy crap, this is, you know,
You guys take a picture?
You've made
Yeah,
it.
what did you do with the 6-pack?
I've got it at the brewery.
Very
There you
nice.
go.
Although, I
Good
mean,
choice.
knowing what it is, I'll just drink it because, you know, the second the second that beer goes into a can or bottle, that's the best it's ever going to be.
Yeah.
It's not going to get better.
You're not going to age it in a
generally.
can.
Yeah.
So
no.
do you open it up every like anniversary? You have a slice of wedding cake.
I
and
don't know
beer.
about that. Maybe I'll just get some friends together and we'll just, shotgun them
kill
all
'em.
to celebrate or something.
That's
I don't know if
perfect.
you've seen like local business or a small business owner that has their first dollar made.
Yeah.
Keep that. You're not gonna do that with that beer can.
That's a hell of a good idea. I actually really like that.
That's pretty cool.
First,
yeah.
say first can off the line.
Yeah.
I like
Get
that,
like one
man.
of those
Nice.
Little
Little
like they do for autographs for
yeah.
like helmets. You get one of
Yeah,
those. just put it in
exactly.
there on the
Shadow
wall.
boxes.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
see, the great thing about that is you'll never spend it.
Right.
True.
So, guys, it's the top of the hour. I think it's time. For our special beer.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
I got a little nervous. Like,
You said
damn,
top of the
hour
hour,
went by already. Fuck.
50 minutes.
No, so we have we mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show. We have the special brown bottle here. Matt, so what's in here? What's going on?
So this is a special version of our Knockout Irish Red Ale, which I think I mentioned before is an 8% Irish Red Ale. We took that beer and we aged it in Nicaraguan rum barrels for about 5 months. So it pulls a little bit of the rum flavor out. It gets a little bit of vanilla from the oak. There's very, very little of this beer even left. We went through quite a bit of it at our second anniversary party, so figured I'd bring a special bottle for you guys to.
Yes,
Greatly
thank
appreciate.
you.
I think this is the best day of my life.
he loves some good
So
Irish red.
I like Irish red beer. I like the beer already. In the fact that it's in rum bottles, I love rum. For people who don't know me, I fucking love rum. Second thing, but also brightening up my day earlier. We got a brand new machine at work, and then Andrew mentioned this. He said, "I've never seen you get excited at work ever in your life." And it's a brand new machine that I could really appreciate the equipment.
It's a microscope.
Shut up! I was gonna let that be a
Beautiful microscope, I must
mystery.
say.
All right, fuck you.
To be fair, it is a great microscope.
So the quality of it was super exciting. So I get to have one of my favorite beers. I aged in Beryl Rum, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna have a nice little note to it. So I am super excited.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Let's get it.
Should we crack her open?
Yeah.
Crack it open.
Matt, you want to be the first to try it?
I've tried it, so there's one bottle, so you guys enjoy it. Got enough?
Let's pour it out into some glasses.
Oh my god, that's fucking delicious. That is fucking delicious right there.
I think he who opens it gets the taste. So, kind of, you normally see like a bourbon barrel.
Ziggy.
You see kind of aged, like a lot of stuff aged in bourbon barrels. What kind of different notes do you get from the rum barrel versus the bourbon barrel?
The rum, we were real excited about this one because I think the rum, the base beer itself has a little bit of sweetness from the English crystal malt. So I think it pulls a little bit of that sweetness. The English chocolate malt from the base beer kind of gets mellowed out a little bit by the barrel. And it's the oak, the interaction with the beer, it produces a little bit of vanilla. So it kind of makes it, kind of a cool little combination. So it's almost like a dessert beer is really what it is.
It is tasty.
Yeah,
I'm
it
getting
is
a
really
nice
good.
caramel.
It smells amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet, and
it's fucking it's fucking
And thank
great.
you for
Like,
only giving me this much because I think it would mess me up. So
It's only about 8.7%. So
like I feel
would
like
mess me up then.
Salud. Salud. I just
cheers.
thank you, sir.
Cheers.
I think it's one of my greatest gifts.
And it's been a good Thursday for
we
Victor
got
today.
microscope and this beer.
Listen, guys, there's so people who are not in the laboratory setting, there's tons of shitty microscopes. Now, let's be clear. In our lab, we had a good microscope. We went from good to fucking great. And
Let me just say I hate you because my microscope is awful. We were just talking about it today, actually.
so we have a good microscope that we're going to give away at our lab to a school here in Texas. But so we went from good. It's not like went from shit to okay. We went from a good microscope to a fucking one of the top of the line out there, where the images are crisp, The camera is gonna be crisp. It's everything about it is just great, smooth transition. And I think I talked about it. I think for about 2 hours today.
He was talking about it for a while with the vendor guy.
Welcome to the part of the show where Victor nerds out.
It was funny because he's seen that kind of microscope before, and so he was talking with the guy that was installing it, and after the guy left, he was just like, yeah, and this one it can do this, and there's like two that are probably better than this one in the world, so this one's great, and I was just like, man, I've never seen you this excited about like a piece of equipment in the laboratory, anything related to the lab, ever. So it's been a good day for Victor today.
I'm really monotone at work.
To be fair, I did that with a soundboard today. So
There you
to be honest,
Tools of the trade.
When
tools
you
of
work
the
at
trade.
something for so long, I've been doing this for my job for 10 years. So to get like top of the line equipment, it's very rare in this field.
Matt, what was your like precious baby that when you got in, you just geeked out?
I don't know. I mean,
This
You know-
beer right here
Yeah.
is fucking amazing.
putting together the Brewhouse was pretty interesting. So when our brewery, when it came in, they sent all these tanks and they sent 20 boxes of parts, just pipes and stuff. And I mean, it was, but they did it right. They put the whole brewery together. So our brewery was made by a company in Canada, and so they put the whole brewery, the Brewhouse together, put all these pipes fit together with the clamps, and they put little strings and wrote numbers on little tags. So each pipe had a tag and a number, and then they took pictures of all of it, and then they took it all apart, put it in boxes, and sent it to us, and sent us all the pictures. And it's like, here you go,
Decipher
put
it.
it back together. So it was like putting together a giant puzzle.
So you guys put together the brewery then?
I put together the whole brewery
Wow.
myself.
Wow,
That's
that's
clarifying. He
amazing.
said you. She said you guys. He said fuck that. I did that.
Yeah.
That's a
No.
pretty giant,
Yeah.
expensive jigsaw puzzle.
Yes. So
Yeah,
we
it's
had-
time consuming. I could only imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, we had a company, we had, some guys who were really good forklift drivers upright all the tanks, and then I put everything together, but then it was one of those things where you have one tank that's supposed to be joined with another tank, and you get right down to the last pipe, and it's, a half an inch off. And so
Like how to
you've gotta
shift
go all the
everything.
way back, and so you've got to move this 2,000-pound tank about an inch and a half and rotate it a half a degree. And so finally, it took me about 2 weeks, but we got it all put together.
I was thinking
Wow.
only 2 weeks.
Yeah, well,
That's a
doing it
long
all
time,
day,
though.
all day,
I
every
mean,
day.
Yeah,
for
but
2
that would
weeks.
take
Sunday
me
to
at
Sunday.
least a year,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, that's exciting. Like, listen, things that you invest in and you get things that you want out of it, you spend the time you want to put into it.
Sure,
and then
definitely.
the outcome you get super excited about.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure it was pretty daunting to start it out and put it all together, but I'm sure it's gratifying at the end when it's all done and everything, of course.
And then knowing, especially that you did it, I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to feel pretty great.
yeah, like I said, he clarified. He didn't let anybody else get the
The
glory.
family owned, but
Well,
installed.
my brother-in-law he did help me when he could.
There you
But
go.
does brother-in-law really help though?
He's
No, he
screwed the
does.
bolt in
He
here.
does. He helped. He helped as much as he could. He's got a full-time job. So
I brought an Allen wrench. Is that gonna be
Got a couple
any assistance?
That's all we need. No, that's all we need. One Allen wrench. One size fits all.
So do you guys have any thing you're looking to expand or upgrade to in the near future? Any kind of equipment like that you have your eye on
maybe.
that could be a trade
Oh.
secret that he could show us in person? one day?
No, so we're actually looking at purchasing a couple more fermenters right now, just to help increase our capacity. So the kind of dual launching cans, signing with a distributor, we're making beer as much as possible. So we're kind of maxed out
Got it.
right now on production, and so I think that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, so-
we're gonna have to have more capacity, so we'll probably add a couple more tanks, but the lead time on those is 4 to 6 months. So
Okay.
Okay.
Do you
We're
guys
very
sell it by
busy.
the barrel or just all right now by the cans?
no, so we just started canning. So before everything was all keg.
Okay.
So most of the places you could find our beer was on draft.
That's that. Got it.
So canning is just new, really, to most people this week.
Well, believe it or not, we had a guy at our station here He's like, "Oh, so you have it on the show this week? You have bitter season? They just started canning. I'm super excited. I haven't tried it yet."
First thing out of
Yes.
his mouth. The guy that you met when you first walked in, they was the one that brought that up. So
He's
Yeah,
big
he's
into
pretty stoked.
what's his name?
Jalen.
Jalen.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Shout out
really
to
big
Jalen.
into beer. So shout out to Jalen here in the studio. He's actually moving up to bigger and better things in his life. But yeah, he was super excited. He's really into like the craft scene here in Texas. So it's funny to see his eyes light up. It's like they just started canning. I can't
Yeah,
wait to find it.
you're out there, man. You're in the ether.
Yeah, people are out there who recognize your name, man. It's a, I mean, it's the see this subculture in Texas of like craft beer, of just people who drink it and people who make it. Just a huge subculture that people don't realize is out here.
Oh, sure.
The vast majority of people don't realize that here who live in Texas, but people who in that scene and that I'm being brought into it. Me and Kirsty, we kind of see it as like, oh shit, this is like a fucking other world here that I know it fucking existed.
Well, I have a best friend who's super into beers, so I've always known it, but I've never cared to remember names or any beer that I ever drink. I'm just like, that's good, that's good. Hopefully, I taste it again in my life. But now, but now I'm actually learning to appreciate each brewery and also kind of for what you guys stand for. Like we've mentioned several times, family owned. That's really awesome to me. There really isn't that many out there.
No, there's a lot of people, big private equity firm money that are opening breweries, and doing the brew pub thing back in the mid '90s, we saw the same thing. You had people who were very passionate about it, opening little breweries or brew pubs, and then you had the guys with money after that said, "Oh, I can make a bunch of money doing that." And guess what?
That's any industry. That's
Most of
unfortunate.
those people aren't around anymore because they threw a bunch of money at it and the beer sucked.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
on that kind of note, Lagunitas. How do you feel about that whole situation where they started out, kind of their own independent entity, kind of went under the umbrella of Heineken, kind of like their own entity underneath their umbrella, and then now they're kind of absorbed into the whole Heineken scene. Does that kind of, do you fault them for wanting to go for bigger and better things?
I think you have to look at it, or I look at it like this, as somebody who went through the process of actually opening a brewery and starting a brewery.
It's tough.
It's hard as hell.
Yeah.
It's, very hard. And, especially, since it's just family, there's all of those other factors as well. It's easy to open a brewery with somebody else's money. It's
Yeah.
not easy to open a brewery with your money.
Yeah.
But, I'm not, we didn't open the brewery to go, sell it. But hey, everybody's got a number.
Yeah, for sure. To
somebody-
stay in business, if you will.
Yeah.
to
Well,
do-
or no,
to
even,
continue.
hey, somebody offers me some, Ballast Point money. Somebody comes and says, hey, I'll give you $1 billion for your brewery.
He's like, you
hard.
know what?
Well,
I wasn't
take a-
even
I'll
thinking
take a
about that
billion.
money. But you know what? I love my business, but what I was telling Andrew is this. So I've tried opening 2 different businesses, and they both failed miserably. But in that process, you go in trying to do something, and you don't know that you have your own expectation of quality, or whatever their people concern is. If it's money, I've seen tons of people fail just for money. But if it's about putting out a good product, you have your own expectation. But you don't know at the tail end what's going to happen. You don't know what
Sure,
the
no, you
contract they're
don't.
signing, because the contract that these people sign, we don't know. That hasn't been released. Do they have full rights of what type of beers they make? They can
Right.
still have that. They're just being made and distributed by Heineken. We don't know what's being put into the contract. We don't know what they fought for. It's just something that they were a small business. Now they're moving up to bigger things. And money talks.
Well, most of those things, it's, when you have a company as big as Heineken or, SAB Miller or Anheuser-Busch InBev,
Yeah.
they're buying everything. They're buying
Things
all of
are-
it, the
they're
rights
good.
to everything.
They're
So-
buying things that are good, and then if it's good enough, you can negotiate.
So there's a lot of people that say them buying up a lot of the breweries that are popular and stuff kind of hurts against the people who are doing craft beer and the smaller
Absolutely, it does.
breweries and stuff like that, because they're essentially, they're monopolizing the market
They
at
are.
a certain extent, which is
See, I
they have such a big
agree.
chunk of piece of the pie. That it's pretty ridiculous.
Well, I think they're looking at it from a business standpoint. They are not growing their core brands. Their core brands continue to lose market share, and so they're looking at it as, okay, how can we, so they're buying these, large regional breweries so that, okay, yeah, we can grow these brands. People, recognize these brands. They identify with them. They like them, so they can grow those brands. And so that's why, Karbach, they sold out, and so now they're under the umbrella. So
you see them I think I've seen some of their stuff at like Sam's Club and stuff. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But this is why I agree and disagree. Is it a monopoly or certain industry? Yes, but it isn't, because there's competitors, right? So this is how I see it, right? Is there not competitors? This is not the phone company. There are competitors out there.
Oh, well, I think when you have this continual buying up of smaller competitors, you allow a concentration of market share through to 3 to 4 companies, and so you don't necessarily have a monopoly. But if those 3 to 4 companies collude, you get price fixing, and so I think that is the ultimate
that's the
evil
ultimate
that
illegal.
you're fighting against.
That's the ultimate illegal, and that's the ultimate
but then
conspiracy theory on things. Because go ahead.
Look at Anheuser-Busch, InBev, and SAB Miller are going to merge companies.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Miller, Coors, Budweiser, all as one company. So that's like more than half of all the beer sold in the United States. So how that's not a monopoly, I don't
it's
know.
a majority if you think
Majority.
about it. So
This is where I understand the complaints, but I also understand on the business side of it. So as say I'm the biggest craft beer in Texas, right? And they come to me and say, hey, here is $250 million. We want the rights to your name. You want the rights to distribution. We want whatever else they add to it. You're still involved with it at some level or aspect, but we want this part of it. I may not be making $250 million, so you can't fault for people thinking about it and making a business decision.
No. I mean, it's definitely a business decision. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's, there's a lot of people who've worked, 20, 30 years, and it's like, okay, well, I worked my ass off every single day for 30 years, and somebody comes and says, here you go.
Here's more money you ever made.
Go buy an island in the Caribbean, and you
more
don't
money
never have to
behind.
worry about it again.
There's more
All
money
right.
you ever made
It's
as
kind
an
of a
industry.
trade-off.
It is a trade-off, and it's a concern for a lot of things, because you could do the same thing about Google. You could talk about monopolies in the internet. You could talk about monopolies in
Why you gotta mention Google in that?
because
Just
Google
do
buys
Apple.
everything.
Just do Apple.
To be fair, their corporate motto is "Don't be evil."
Is it though?
It is.
Is it when you buy everything, you buy and control everything? You want.
Well, that is their public.
You want to
corporate motto.
replace everything out there. Like the Google wants to replace everything. They try to replace Facebook, but Facebook was so good and so popular they couldn't do it. But
They just wanted to expand their Gmail.
okay.
So
That is neither here or there. But I don't fault any brewing company, will be small or how big they are, for merging or selling to another company if they feel the price is right, if they feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault them, but, at the same time, I'm not going to buy your beer again.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people. So I don't know,
You have that right too.
Did
You
you
have that right,
see?
too.
Did you see that blog post that they put out? One of the guys from Lagunitas describing that and saying, a lot of people get mad at me, calling me a sellout, and this and that, and but it's just a business decision. We're still going to continue to make the quality beer we made, and
I haven't seen that one. I'll have to go look at it. I did see the one that Greg Cook from Stone. He did a whole editorial talking about it, hey, congratulations, guys. You made a great business decision. I understand it, but realize, you're still hurting those of us that, are your friends that are, still trying to do it independently.
there's a lot of people
It's
that
tough.
pulled
It's
out like
tough.
of business relations with them. I think because of the fact that they did that. So, kinda
And
comes
which
with
is
it,
that right
so,
too. It's a
yeah.
tough decision. People made whatever decision they make for themselves. But on a side note, on a lighter note, I'm trying to drink, which is a beer I also like here, where we tried first, the Hissy Fit. Hissy lager. But after following such a fucking great beer, it's hard to follow up. So I'm drinking it right now. I was like, it tastes good. I like
Right,
it.
but you're
They're
going-
totally different.
Yeah, you're going from like a big malty,
But
thick,
delicious
rich beer, right?
goodness right here. Like you need to figure out how to mass produce. It was fucking delicious.
He took what? So what is it? 3 to 4 months? You said I think in the
Yeah, at least 4 months.
4
in the
months in
barrel.
there.
That's fucking good.
That would be a nice batch release. That's
You can
I definitely
specialty
see
beer
why
once a
you.
year.
I see why you guys busted that out for the anniversary though. It's
Oh,
it's
for
definitely
sure.
very
Fucking good.
tasty.
Yeah, we had I think 15, 16 beers at the anniversary party, so we had a bunch of different stuff that.
And when was this anniversry party?
That was April 8th.
April.
Oh my
I
god,
gotta wait,
we
like,
could have
a
been
whole
there.
11 months.
Why didn't you call us now? We
Next
could have
April
recorded
8th.
this.
We'll put that on the calendar.
All right, next year, third anniversary party.
That should be the
Ooh.
tattoo party.
We will be there.
Yeah.
That will be our anniversary, around our anniversary date as well.
You've got
If
8.
he can get tattooed there, it'll be on the Adams.
Oh my
apple.
God, no!
So-
Stop. First of all, stop that. We could get tattooed if I'm no longer working in the medical field. I would definitely get tattooed on my neck. Bitter sisters. I do not have a problem with that. I do want to be fully tatted. So, but the problem is, I work in a corporate medical field. So, being fully tattooed from neck.
You could just wear a scarf every day. I don't
It's
think
a little hard.
We work in the lab. No
Well,
one
just put it
sees
just
you.
put it right next to your heart.
There you
right
go.
on the
I don't
shoulder.
mind doing that
There you
either.
go.
Like,
There you
if we want to switch it from my neck to my heart, I could do that next week.
There you
We
go.
can make this
I
episode
didn't
happen.
clarify because he went like this, and I was like, the nipple right next to the nipple.
That's gonna
Over
hurt.
the nipple, yeah.
Wait,
over
wait,
the
I'm
nipple.
not doing the
Comes out.
nipple. Wait, I said the heart.
Well, I think you have till April 8th of next year to kind of decide whether or not you're
Well,
down with that.
if all works well and we could do this more often, I would definitely get tattooed on the neck. But if I'm long as I'm in the corporate world at this point, I have to wait. But it's on there. No, I'm right
Over
on the
the
heart,
nipple.
not the nipple though.
We could
not
get the circular Bitter Sisters logo, but over the nipple.
I don't know who here has their nipples. I've had my nipples pierced before. That is not a pleasant experience.
I don't
you
think
know?
like that sounds like something I want to go
Nobody
out
else
and
gonna
do.
say that on air. So
Why am I? So
We don't want to admit
Here-
Haven't
here-
and not going to.
Yeah,
here's the
no.
thing.
Not
There's
It's only fun.
there's things on the show that I feel like other people bring up, but when I go back and listen to it, it's always me. It is always
call
me.
the boundary pusher.
Shut up.
It is definitely true.
I feel like Kirsty might say some things, and I feel like Andrew might say some things, and I'm like, you guys said that. They're like, no. And then I watched the show, and I was like, why did I bring that up? Why did I say that?
Gotta trust the tape, man.
Because
Tape
we
don't
got
lie.
wives, so we keep it. And Matt's here. He's keeping it level. He's got a wife. He's
He understands.
That's what
I
I
got
need.
kids. I can't
yeah.
can't have
See,
them
that's
pulling this
even
up
extra.
and
But you said here
10 years. Like, Dad, how come I can't do this? You said this.
You said you
Alright.
shotgun 3 beers. You know,
I didn't do anything you haven't done.
right? Definitely.
See, I guess I need to get married. So, anybody out there, listen, I'm single. Let's talk about
He's
it.
jumping to. He's gonna get a tattoo. Gonna get married. Everything. Just boom, boom, boom.
Wait, hold up. Tattoo first. I have no problem with
We
the
can,
tattoo.
we can have the marriage ceremony at the brewery as
Any
well.
woman out there who wants to marry a man with the Bitter Sisters tattoo over his nipple,
Whoa,
Or
who
on
said
his
the
neck.
nipple? I said the heart.
That's a hot
I
commodity.
said the heart.
it's a nipple now.
What the fuck?
We're negotiating the terms for
You
you.
gotta put me out there.
So, do you guys have any up and coming beers that you're willing to talk about, or any kind of styles you're wanting to reach out into?
We've been talking about doing a double IPA. Now it's just trying to find
Wow.
when the tank space.
What is
Just
about a
trying to get-
stout? What about stouts?
We've got a stout that was our winter release. It was our winter seasonal. That's our Winter Bush Imperial Stout.
Okay, I wait to winter.
It's gonna be nice and strong.
We'll
what's the-
have you back in December.
We've actually still got some in the tasting room, so come by.
There you go,
It's a
guys.
Okay.
1.2%
Everybody go out
stout, very very delicious.
Stouts have become my absolute favorite the last few months.
Yeah. So I've been trying to get them into the craft brew scene, and trying to get their palates out there, because I remember when I first tried it, I started out with I want to say like one of the first ones I tried on tap was like a Avery White Rascal, and just kind of branched up
Sure.
from there, reached out to IPAs, and found out I really loved IPAs and stouts and porters and stuff. And he's really kind of grown onto the stouts.
Stouts and porters I get with, red ales I get in with, lagers I get with it, but IPAs it's. So I had
You're the malty side.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely is.
I do like that. That's why I love this beer. I love the beers you guys
If
produce.
you like stouts, you got to come to the tasting room. Come try our
So
stuff.
Try the
next
seasonal.
Friday, you will see me there.
All right.
I can't. So this Saturday I'm busy, but next Friday you'll see me there.
All right.
But this is the deal. IPAs. Here's the whole honesty about IPAs. I feel they're the worst part of drinking beer. Oh my god. They're the worst. It's like a shitty wine.
No,
Oh,
no,
well,
man. There's
fair
so many
enough.
different. There's so many
that
different
people try.
types, man.
So there's Cabernets. There's I'm trying to think of wines right now. I'm just too drunk. Just trying to think of wines.
Merlot.
Merlots.
Pinot Noir.
The Pinot Noirs. There's different types of wines, right? But Pinot Noir and Cabernets, I feel like are the worst part of wine, drinking wine. So,
To each their own.
It's
I
like
mean,
the
it's
leading
everyone's got
up.
their own preferences.
so when I drink IPAs, I think I find like, the honest truth is, I had an IPA a few weeks ago here on a show that didn't taste like an IPA. There wasn't that hops in the face. It was great.
So it was probably the bitterness. So a lot of IPAs, especially the older, IPAs that have been around a long time, they're very, very bitter. The newer kind of West Coast IPAs, you get more of the hop flavor, hop aroma. You don't get that lingering bitterness on your tongue. And so that's kind of what we do with our IPA. You get a little bit of that bitterness, but it's more, you get the grapefruit, citrus
Okay.
kind of flavor. But you get some IPAs, English IPAs, same if they've made for
Get a lot of
100
taste.
years. It's just
a
super
lot of
bitter.
taste in the front.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to try IPA. I'm willing to try as many IPAs as people want to give me, but I found out like 99% IPAs, I think it's trash. Like I do not like them.
well, you just got to develop your palate.
And I
so.
do feel bad. There was a brewer that came out and brought an IPA, and my first thing I said is like, I can see why people would buy it. I can see what you guys did, and I could taste the flavors in it. I could taste that they really want to push this out, and they really taste the passion behind their work, and I could feel it, and I could see it in their what they gave us. But fucking don't like it. I don't fucking like IPAs.
Wasn't for you.
You just gotta appreciate the taste of every.
And the
beer
same
for
thing with
different people.
Kirsty. She just hates fucking stouts.
Yeah.
She's not a very coffee friendly.
No, yeah, that's really why it's coffee. If it tastes like coffee, I don't like it. So.
Yeah, there you go. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what you like, and that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But here we go. It's time of the show where we talk about our social media.
No,
So,
do we? Shit,
Yeah.
we got 3 minutes. We can
Yeah.
talk about something else.
So, do you have anything you want to tell? Any upcoming events you guys have going on at the brewery, or anything?
The next big event will be, I think it's July 3rd for Addison Kaboom Town.
Oh, nice.
So they do a big fireworks display in
huge.
Addison, huge. So we always do a big party at the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk down to the end of our parking lot and see the fireworks. 'Cause
Really?
they're-
okay,
This is
perfect.
like you're paying like what, $15, $20 to get in?
No, I don't know how we're going to do it this year.
Still
We had
up
a
in the air.
really big crowd last year, so we may do Eventbrite or something. But it's always a good time, chill. We'll have a food truck.
I'll tell you this:
music.
if you have anything going on, I will be there. I love Kaboom Town, the Addison Kaboom Town. If I can speak English, fuck. It's fucking great. Is who hasn't experienced it here in Texas, or whoever's watching it, it's a fucking great experience. Great fireworks, by the way, but it's just tough to get in. Like it's just
Right.
it's ridiculous
Yeah.
how many people are there in such a small city.
Yeah, there's over 100,000 people coming down just for that.
And typically you have maybe what 10,000-20,000 people there. It's a metroplex. It's within north of Dallas, but it's not that many people that live there and work there. But when you have that many people in those little streets, it's fucking ridiculous.
So that's why it'd be great if when you find out your details, let us know and we'll shoot it out there on our social
Absolutely.
media and
And I will
let
be
people
there
know.
at 8:00 that morning.
I definitely
There you
bring-
go. You'll
bring-
get a spot.
You guys are kid friendly, so I can bring the kids.
Absolutely.
Come watch some fireworks.
So where can we find you guys? Online? You guys have
Yeah, so we've got a website, bittersistersbrewery.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Oh yeah, Instagram. I did tag you on Facebook. I will tag you on our next Instagram post about this show. So yeah, I don't know that Instagram.
Yeah.
Good to
Yeah,
go.
appreciate you
Andrew,
coming on today.
where can we find you?
So I'm on Facebook, Andrew Franklin, and then Instagram, Kinetics with the Z, and through Dallas Beer Talk. Yep.
all right. And you guys can find me at Sarah's Guitar and my gamer name on Instagram. So
PC gamer, by the way. So anyone PC gaming out there could definitely find Kirsty
Kirsty
out
out
there.
there.
What games are you playing nowadays?
Nothing right now. There's nothing good.
Nothing good right there. Not Quake, anything. Nothing.
Nothing
Fuck
new
that.
and great. Nope.
Mass Effect was a massive flop,
Yes.
so that was a heartbreaker. You can find me at V Santana 1988 on Instagram. You also find me on Facebook. Also find me on Dallas Beer Talk. Ziggy, I want to apologize for not introducing you early in the show, but Ziggy, Comedy Man of the Hour, what's up?
I don't do social media because it is dumb. But you can find me every Thursday at 8:30 at the Backdoor Comedy Club. Every Saturday at the Backdoor Comedy Club at 8 and 10:15, where I will be hosting the late show, except for this week. I'm taking the week off. But, guys, I got a plug. We were talking about Addison Kaboom Town.
Yes.
I've got a, it's kind of been hush-hush. I haven't been talking about it, but I have a movie coming out July 4th, guys.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty excited about it.
Are you in it?
I'm not in it, but I worked on the crew for it, so I'm
God.
going to be in the credits. I got to work with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, guys. I'm pretty excited.
What?
White Man
Wesley
Can't
Snipes
Jump?
is out.
Yes,
yeah?
I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited. It is Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson in the Middle East, and it is a movie about how hard it is for Caucasian individuals to ride camels.
Oh,
We're calling
be
it calling it White Men Can't Hump.
I was like, wait, hold up. For people who don't know, that was a fucking joke. I was really in it. I was like, yes, my boy Ziggy, fucking asshole. That was
Anyways,
Dallas
guys.
Beer Talk, guys. We fucking love you. Thank you, Matt, for coming on. It's fucking a pleasure, man. I do appreciate it. We will stay in contact. We definitely want to. Once we get a mobile showing going, we definitely come see you guys and definitely be there this 4th of July, actually July 3rd. Thank you guys. God bless. I love you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right, kids. Does everyone know what time it is? Yeah!